Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games back with another cool pinball repair video for you this evening. We have been working on this Williams Firepower that our buddy James brought us to work on, and he did a Playfield swap on it. So he's got a brand new Playfield in it, and so we've been messing around with finishing it up for him. He's kind of one of them long projects where he didn't quite get it all the way done, so he brought it to us to kind of put the finishing touches on it. So we've been reconnecting wires and all this kind of stuff, and we have finally got it to the point where we've got the lamps working, kind of. We've got the displays working, kind of. We've got the general illumination working, kind of. And we're still missing a couple switches, and the flippers ain't doing their thing yet, and we haven't messed with the soundboard yet. But it's getting there, so we're working through it. So hopefully this will be our last video, so we're gonna try to finish it up. So the first thing I'm gonna do, we're in lamp test. We've got a couple lamps that don't work. This one, whoop. This one, and this one. So I'm gonna swap those and just see if I can figure out what in the world's going on with that. The easy thing about this, or the good thing about this, is that there is a brand new power supply, a brand new MPU, and a brand new driver board. So that certainly helps. Now on the back box, all of the lamps are working on here. The displays are all working except for the master display. The glass is dead on it, unfortunately. If we put in the UDN 6184 or 6118 chip, that display basically shorts the power out. So that glass is shorted, unfortunately. So we can't get the displays completely done, but they're all working except for the master display. On these lamps, I would like to get the general illumination ones that aren't working swapped out and fix these three controlled ones. So let me see what I can figure out with those, and then we'll move on. So the bulb here that didn't work, it had a new bulb in it, but I took it out and put another new bulb in it, and it fixed it. This one here, I swapped the bulb. It did not fix it. Now, everything looks good on it. It's making good contact. The wires are right. Leads me to believe it's probably the diode. So there's a diode on each bulb because they're in a matrix. Now, why would I think it's the diode? It's because all the other bulbs on that matrix are working. So the entire row's working, the entire column's working, and it has to make its way all the way back to the MPU. If you've only got one out, it's got to be something on the socket. The socket itself looks like it's connected well to that bar that it's mounted to. All the wires are connected. I actually soldered them on there. So the diode's probably open. So I'm going to swap that. And then this one was the other one, and the diode is actually missing on it, so that would do it. So the line is not physically connected to the bulb at all, or electrically connected. So I need to add two diodes. I believe they're all 4001. Is it? I better not say that. I'll mess it up. I think they're all 4001, but I'll check it out. Diodes. So let me go grab them. I'll look it up in the manual, and we'll put those two diodes in and see if that gets the last of our switched lights working. Okay, so our number 4, new diode. Tested the old one out of the circuit, and it is in fact open. And then down here the diode was missing. Put in a new one. Bam. Came right back. So every one of the switched illumination lights is now working. That's fantastic. So I'm going to put the Playfield down, and we're going to replace the ones that are the general illumination that aren't working under the light shields. So let's see if we can get all of them going. Okay, so a lot of them are just they don't have a bulb in it, and like this one, the switch is still taped together. He had marked a lot of stuff with tape, and was working through it piece by piece. So many of them just need a bulb installed. But this one also needs a ring. The ring wasn't installed, so I got to put a little rubber ring on it, and then we can put the light shield back on. Yeah, baby, now we're talking. She's starting to get there. He didn't bring me this upper left light shield. Plastic. So I can't put that back on. So there were a couple bulbs up there. There was one up there. There was one here. One down in there. One over in here. One in there, two in here, one in there, the messed up one in there, and one in there. And that got it all back how it's supposed to be. We're really starting to get somewhere. This thing's almost ready to play. Can you believe it? I don't believe it. Okay, so we still have to work on switches. We have to replace the missing switch in the middle, which is a very important switch, by the way. I think I still have to connect the solenoid under the apron, the out-hole kicker. And I haven't heard a peep out of it yet. So I don't think the soundboard works. Let's see. I'm hitting the coin switch, and I ain't hearing no coins. So, and I can't tell if it has credits on it. Oh, you know what? This light actually is supposed to light up if there's credits, but I don't know if that bulb's any good. So, we're getting there. So I think next, perhaps, we'll try to finish the switches. So let me see if I can find a suitable switch target for that hole right there. That target is a cool little shot all the way through the pop bumpers. Just a neat little shot. So let me see if I can find one that'll go in there, and we'll see if we can get that going. Okay, so I was able to find another target in the back that I could put in there. I didn't know any of this stuff was missing, so I didn't order some of the stuff, but it creeps up on you. But I got it wired in, and that's always a kind of weird shot because it's right in front of those posts, so the target itself can't move much. But I think they kind of wanted it to be a direct shot anyway, so we'll see how it plays. Okay, so that's that. There were also the tilt switch under the Playfield. The wires were cut, so I extended those and put heat shrink on it, and got it hooked back up. So I believe I've got every switch hooked up. We've got all the coils except for the two flippers and the out-hole coil hooked up. So I'm going to pull this up and take the apron off so we can look at that coil. Alright, so here's under the apron. Those have been cut, but I think I got enough length I can stretch them. And then these weren't hooked up either. That light I've never seen come on as well, so I'm going to swap that light bulb while we're under here. So that's next. Okay, folks, so we went ahead and put it in solenoid test. See, the flashers flash, and it's solenoid testing like crazy. Now, we had a little problem. We've been, for the last 45 minutes, we've been tracking down a general illumination problem. Basically, as the coil's fired, it would make the GI blow the fuse. So we've installed a little circuit breaker back there so that it doesn't keep blowing the fuses on us. And the reason that it does stuff like that when the coil's fire is because what it's doing is it's knocking trash loose. So loose pieces of solder, loose pieces of wire, all that crap. There's stuff all over the place. All this. I've cleaned this up and thrown it away about 5 times already. So you just end up with all kinds of junk. Like, look at this. Ugh. Right. And so way down behind that bulb was a little piece of one of those staples that came loose from somewhere, got lodged behind there, and was shorting both sides of it together. But apparently, only after it got knocked loose from up here somewhere. So, but we finally found it. If you're ever looking to figure something like that out, you can't test it with a multimeter because all the general illumination measures shorted because the bulbs are dead short across them, especially when you got 50 of them in parallel. So you can't really use a multimeter to find it. The only way you can find it is just look around at every single freaking one of the sockets. Now, we had a little bit of a clue. These lights went out first, then these went out, then the back box lights went out. So it was probably something over here, and we kept looking and found it. So, but with that said, it seems like all the coils are working as well. So we're up to the flippers. And then I'm saving the switches for last because the switches are the hardest thing to fix. Switches need to be adjusted just right and all of that. So they just take a lot more work. So we're saving it for last. But we're doing all the coils. They all seem to be popping and doing their thing, with the exception of the flippers. So flippers are next. Okay, folks, so whenever we first started messing with this, we messed with the transformer a little bit on the first video. These lines actually go up to the soundboard. I had forgotten about that, so that's why our soundboard's not working. There's no power to it. So that's what these go to. And then the only other one we have, I mean, we've got crap like this. There's a stray black wire. I don't know why in the crap all this stuff was cut, but this wire is coming off of the bridge rectifier that creates the voltage for the solenoids, which runs to pin 2 here. Okay, well, there's different variations of this, but basically there's supposed to be a second lead coming off of that actually attaching to pin 3, which is our missing flipper voltage. It's not connected. Nothing's on pin 3. Okay, so something fell. So if we connect that here, it will then route it through this fuse, and then it comes out here, these 2 blue wires. Well, the 2 blue wires do run down to the flippers, so that's the proper wiring of this era machine. I think this harness might be from a prototype or an early version or a later version or something like that. But for our purposes, basically this line needs to go in pin 3. So I'm going to do that with a brand new connector, and that should get our flipper voltage LED on and our flipper voltage out LED on, and get our power down to the flippers where we need it, as well as run them through a fuse. So here it is on the schematics. There's the bridge rectifier. The orange wire comes out and goes to pin 2 to provide the power for the solenoids. And then another wire branches off and goes to pin 3 to provide the B+, which is the same voltage for the flippers. Instead of having that attached there, it's basically attached here, but exact same thing. So we need to put that wire in pin 3. So with that done, we now have our flipper voltage on the board, running through that and then running back out those blue lines. So that wires up our power supply. We're not messing with the soundboard yet, and now we can go down to the flippers. So you've got a blue line, another blue line. You have a green line and a white line, 2 white lines. That's for the lane change switch, which isn't there, of course. So I got to go try to figure out what that looks like and where I can get one. And all right, folks, so we got them wired up. I found another lane change switch. Basically, whenever this goes in, it has to open up the one switch to turn off the second coil, and then it has to hit that other switch so that you can do the lane change. So that was missing, but I figured it out. Okay, so we got the flippers done. I'm going to take all the stuff out, and I guess we can try to play it, actually, see if it'll do anything, and then troubleshoot it from there. And we still have the soundboard that we have to mess with. Okay, so we got it plugged up. So I'm putting pinballs in it, and this is the type of stuff you run into that, right? So we put the pinballs in, and it just immediately kicks them out. Now, why is it doing that? It's because something under here just isn't adjusted right. Okay, so you drop this in. I think there's supposed to be like a little gate or something in it. I don't know. What's missing from there? Right? So it's supposed to stop there, but it doesn't. So what's the problem? Okay, folks, so if I look in the manual, there is a piece of wire that's supposed to be here that I have off of a parts machine, but I can't put it in that side because apparently that's a piece of new metal that nobody ever drilled a hole in. It's like a, I don't know. Okay, folks, so I had a parts Playfield, and it appears that this piece is the right one, or similar to the right one. The original one didn't have this on it, but they added that later. It'll probably work with it. So with that in, and this thing here is supposed to be so that the ball can't go back this way, because this little metal piece will hit the top. So it's like a one-way gate. it doesn't work. It doesn't work without the apron on, but with the apron on, it wouldn't do it, right? Okay, so that's that. But I don't believe that the kicker underneath is the right setup. I don't even think it's the right part, or the plunger's wrong or something. I think it doesn't have any kind of travel to actually kick the ball out. I have to figure out why this isn't right. So whenever this pulls in, it only goes a little bit. Okay. Well, because it only goes a little bit, it doesn't hit the ball. There was a spring on here so that this is up like this. But if this is up like this, the ball can't roll over it in the trough. So that's what you get if the spring's on it. So there was a screw in there that it was hitting, and it doesn't always go all the way back up, because it's just slightly off because it's a new playfield and the holes weren't there. So it's real easy when you mount new stuff that it's just barely off. If it's a freaking 32nd of an inch off, the stuff doesn't move like it should. But you can't really fix it because it's just barely off. You can't put a screw hole barely off how it is. So I might be able to bend it or something and get it to work a little bit better. Okay, folks, so that's half-ass working, but I can't keep messing with it. It's been a long time. Okay. I mean, I can't fix problems I didn't create and weren't original. You know, I mean, if it's the wrong part is installed, I don't know what I can do about that. And it won't credit up. So there's something going on with that, but I can't tell because the display doesn't work. Okay, I kept messing with it and the knocker went off, which means that it credited. So it has credits now, but it won't start. Now on a firepower, usually if it won't start, it's because it doesn't know that there's 3 balls in there. So the trough switches need a little work. Okay, so in my part stash, I found a display that is all screwed up. The glass is messed up, but it does illuminate. So it's telling me which switches are stuck on. So we're going to go through and check that. So 44, that one's actually working. 43, 11. Looks like it's saying 44 stuck wherever it is. 10, okay. That one keeps going back, so maybe it's sticking. 46. 41. 40. 39. 50. 49. 14. The rollover isn't working. 34. I think 34. 33. 32. The spinner. 15. It's working. 16. That one doesn't seem to be working. That one is. 23, 22, 21, 19, 18, 17. Well, that's good. All of the 31. 31. Okay. Okay, so I got to keep messing with it. I got to figure out if the 42, 31, 42, 31, 57, 42, 37. So I got to figure out if the right ones are on or if any are stuck or what's going on. Okay, most of the switches seem to be working, but the middle trough switch was not because this diode is broken. Okay, so for the kicker, this is about what's in it. See how pointed the end of it is? That's what's supposed to be on it. So the reason it's sticking up too high is because it's the wrong part. Okay, it still won't shoot out. I think that's because it's got the wrong plunger installed on it. So with this plunger here, there's just not much room. It just barely moves. So that would be because this is too long, possibly. Okay, now ironically, when I was working on it, underneath it, I noticed that this one, the plunger was so long that it allowed this to come up and hit that switch and bend it every time because the plunger wasn't long enough. So this one needs a longer plunger, and that one needs a shorter plunger. So I'm just going to swap the two. Okay, so that one with the longer plunger no longer hits the switch, so we don't have to worry about it bending it up anymore. All right, folks. That's how it's supposed to be. Let's see if the flippers will work without resetting it. Seems good. We're looking better. I think the trough might actually be fixed. Okay, so this soundboard has had some work done on it. It's had caps replaced and things like that. So we're going to try just getting the power up to it. So these three wires need to go up to this connector, and then there needs to be two fuses there. And it has an onboard voltage regulator to take AC voltage and turn it into 5 volts. So we're going to see if we can make that happen. Okay, so I put the transformer cover back on, extended the wires out, put the fuses in, and we don't get a peep. But that's because the volume pot is missing from down in the bottom.
1, 2, 3, enemy deployed, mission accomplished, you are...
So I didn't have time to film it, but the RAM chip was bad, the ROM was bad, and these 3 ROMs were for a Gorgar.
Firepower.
Right down the middle. It happens. Oh, that's 2. Oh, it's 3.
1 firepower deployed.
I think I matched, but or maybe not. Well, I can't tell.
Firepower. Power.
Oh. Come on now. We got to do better than that, people.
Firepower.
Oh.
Enemy deployed, you. Firepower.
All right, folks, so we got her going. Hope you enjoyed the video. Leave your comments below. I'm going to start on another one soon. We'll see what we do next. So make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure to check out my brother Donnie. Our brother has a channel here on YouTube. A fun time is had by all. I'm over there with him a lot. We're working on buildings, vehicles, whoop, and all kinds of fun things. So make sure to check out my brother Donnie, and